So you can do it. Not a weakness.
Well, it's getting to a point now that I did few of them, and then some of the young people that came felt that it was so neat to see police officers marrying people in uniform. So it was a roll ball event. So I've done 3 young people who said, no, it's got to be Ojo. That's why, it's a big deal. Yeah, but the one...
You're listening to the Tabby Johnson Show on News Talk 1010 CFRB.
Well, we are back with Step by Step. And right now, sitting across from me is Officer Ojo, who wears so many hats. Not only are you a father, prospective donor, chairperson of this particular organization, you're a policeman and an ordained minister. Where do you find the time? I need to know. Because for someone being on the chair of this very important committee, as a police officer, you often, I would imagine, see people who are wasting their lives.
That's correct.
And then as a minister, you see people who want to move forward with their lives.
That's correct.
So move into the mic a little bit, baby, so I can, there we go, okay. So how do you juggle all that? Because you have a lovely smiling daughter who looks like she's like, you're in for the long haul, aren't you, baby?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no half step in here. She is in for the long haul. What made you take on all of these roles? I mean, you could have just stayed a concerned dad. What made you add all these other titles to your name?
Well, I from the background where I come from in Africa, you just do everything you can until you succeed in all of them. And, and if nobody else is going to do it, and just about the only thing you could do is to put your hand up and say, okay, I'll try. And I mentioned it quite a few times before that I personally, when I was a young boy, I used to live on the street. So I know firsthand what poverty is all about. And that was, by the grace of God, I was raised by a Christian family. And as a matter of fact, my dad joked one time, years ago, he says that because I don't drink any alcoholic beverages, he was wondering if I'm actually his son. But it was because of the family that I live with and the Christian values that we are taught. And that helped me a lot when I do become a police officer here in Toronto, to look at people that violate the law. I will do what I have to do in terms of enforcing the law, but with compassion.
Right, you're marrying that with compassion.
Exactly. So one has to accept the efficacy of the other, And then when Step by Step came along, the very first day I fell in love right away with the whole system and the CEO himself, George Marcello. So I said, yeah, I will do it.
You're in for the count. Now, what country in Africa are you from?
West Africa, Nigeria.
Nigeria. So I would love you to now just give a shout out in Nigerian to our listeners, because I do have listeners, and tell them in their tongue, get up off the pot.
Well, there are a few languages in Nigeria.
I know there are.
There is one, which my language is Yoruba.
Yoruba, cool.
Yoruba, and it will go something like gbogbo ẹ̀yin tó bá jẹ́ Yorùbá tẹ́ wà níbẹ̀ mo fẹ́ kẹ́ jọ nítorí t'Ọlọ́run ẹ má sọ pé kì í ṣe tèmi nítorí pé àwa àgbájọwọ́ òun la fi ń sọ̀yà ẹni tó bá ti kú kò nídìí kídìnì mọ́ àwọn tó dẹ̀ wà ń tà ń bẹ̀ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìbàjẹ́ liver ìbàjẹ́ kidney ìbàjẹ́ lungs ìbàjẹ́ heart àbá ti kú gbogbo ẹ̀ kàn máa rà nínú pósí ń bẹ̀ ni so ẹ dìde ẹ jẹ́ ká pa ọ́ pọ̀ ká ràn tí tó wà ní wàhálà lọ́wọ́.
Thank you. So y'all can't say you didn't know what he was talking about, because you know, because I've had you on the phone. So now you know how you can help. Thank you. Now, Patty, your husband, Brian, received a liver transplant, yeah?
Yes.
So where were you in all of this? How long ago was that? What's happening with him?
Well, he received his transplant November 25th.
Oh, just
so
recently?
He's just
wow.
recent. I'm still sleepless and hanging out at home with him. Had to take time off work. And
so what happens when you have to take time off work? Because there's that whole other side of things. Were you weren't a donor, though?
No, I was trying. It would have been so simple if my older son or I could have been a donor. I had no idea that your liver can regenerate so quickly.
Isn't that
within
cool?
2 months, the whole bit. We actually had 2 different people come forward as living donors. One person was eliminated 4 days before a scheduled surgery last summer. They're very careful, and the last test showed a blood clotting anomaly, so he would have a big chance of getting a blood clot, and it was, you know, they don't like to kill off their donors, their living donors.
It's not a happy thing.
They're careful. So the whole thing was called off about 3 days before the surgery.
How heartbreaking.
Which was killer because people have all sorts of different reasons for needing transplants. My husband was diagnosed 4 days before last Christmas with liver cancer. So for him, he was racing against the clock because if the cancer spread outside his liver, like even to 1 blood vessel, he wouldn't be on the transplant list anymore. It's kind of like go to palliative care, do not pass go. It was just a terrible pressure.
Oh my gosh.
And we, you know, there was no one in our immediate family, like my son or I, who could be a donor. Lots of people were tested.
Because how do you ask somebody?
Well, we just asked. I just put that wish out there. I had a network. As soon as Brian was approved for transplant, I actually had a friend who, the minute he was diagnosed and transplant was considered to be a possibility, she was researching all over the net. You know, it's like the Women's Network. They step up, and she was, you know, she actually started losing weight because she knew you could only have a certain percentage of body fat, and she was eliminated for another health problem, but she had lost about 35 pounds, I think, by the time that my husband was approved for transplant. And it was her husband who stepped up and became the first living donor for my husband. And he had met him once. They live in Kincardine, Ontario. He had to drive in for this massive battery of tests that they give you.
Wow.
Wouldn't even let us pay for a hotel, nothing. Like the generosity, it's been a real learning experience for us to learn to accept other people's generosity.
That puts that God thing back into it. I gotta say it.
Holy cow.
I gotta say it. I know that, you know, there are people who may take umbrage, and with that I'm truly sorry, but God does work in mysterious ways. I am here to tell you all. But don't go away, we're gonna come back with more wonderful stories and how you too can help. I'm Tabby Johnson with my friends on News Talk 1010 CFRB.
Time to celebrate the traditions we hold.
Do you have enough time for everybody?
Yes, oh yeah, bring them on in.
Bring them all in?
Sure.
You just kind of hang around too?
Absolutely, we've got some, I will get some more chairs.
Okay, perfect.
This is taking a break too.
Joey?
But don't worry, 1010 Rewards will be back January 6th. Back bigger and better in 2008 with your chance to win even more of the exclusive prizes you want. Happy holidays from 1010 Rewards and News Talk 1010 CFRB.
And the man from Coffee Video.
Oh good, so yeah, he's in the next hour. But we'll do some, you're going to get him, is that where you're going? Okay.
Everything I did is bring the
Oh, cool.
members of the group. We want to take a
Yeah, we'll bring the
picture.
other members of the group, yeah. Oh, no, no, you should probably just want to be here and hang and listen.
And everyone's favorite at this time of year, or any time of year for that matter, Weirdo's Scottish smoked salmon. A great time saver. Drop by and pick up a selection of Weirdo's prepared salads, appetizers, and entrees. Great to have on hand when unexpected company drops by.
Yeah, okay.
It's almost easier.
Cool.
Just 12
All right.
And to each and everyone, a sincere wish for a happy and prosperous 2008.
Hello, my girl. Let me see, Joey, can we maybe wheel a chair in from the production office too?
From that.
Yeah, yeah. So grab seats. We'll sort of position you around microphones. We're going to grab a few more chairs.
No, it doesn't matter.
You're
I'll
sitting
just-
here.
Whenever it's my turn.
Please bring in a couple more chairs.
Hi, honey. How are you? Thanks for coming in again.
Sure, you can share this. I just need a chair.
Joey's just going to get a guest and then he'll wheel in another
Yeah,
chair.
can I help him get a chair?
Sure, honey.
This is the SOS4000 part of the team, part of the excitement. With you too. Tabby, you're part of the team now. Right?
Yeah. I know it got cold all of a sudden, didn't it?
just felt
It's hot and sweaty. Hey, Miss Girl. Are you the torchbearer?
Yeah.
I'll be back in 30 seconds.
Have you guys met?
Yes.
Okay, now if you have a pair of headsets, you can put it on, but you can hear anyway without it. I mainly need it because they talk to me. And tell me, Tabby.
25% off storage bins, and both days get 25 to 75% off all Christmas items. It's how to kickstart your 2008 with
I'll just be walking around. I'll just get to a mic.